curious atmosphere hung in the air as questions lingered, waiting to be answered. Sheng leaned in and asked where the other person had heard all that from. A green-haired man smiled teasingly as he remarked about martial saints and their choice of concubines. Sheng expressed his cynicism about the military's expectation of a godlike figure needing numerous wives to secure future generations. A playful green-haired man gestured enthusiastically, claiming that even 17 or 18 might not be enough. Sheng looked on, surprised by the exaggeration. Frustration hung heavy as Sheng confronted another person, holding his head in irritation over the absurd rumors swirling around him. A light smirk crossed Sheng's face as he leaned in and suggested a plan to keep Dong safe from danger. Tension thickened as Sheng listened silently, unease on his face beside the determined green-haired man staring at him. The atmosphere grew tense as someone voiced a humorous concern about Sheng and the military god's unexpected interest in her. Sheng stood thoughtfully, flanked by two companions who watched him with concern and calm. Sunlight poured down as an excited voice rang out, welcoming Sheng to the gathering. Sheng stood confidently with two companions and said it had been a long time since they had all gathered. Dread hung in the air as Sheng glanced off-panel, worried about an approaching presence. He expressed concern about his brother's arrival and the trouble it might bring. A warm breeze rustled the leaves as a young man with dark hair greeted with surprise, noting how much he had changed since graduation. A confident young man with dark hair greeted Chin, pleased to see him after so long. A friendly introduction filled the air as a proud older brother stood beside a confident and friendly man, introduced Sheng to the group and revealed their connection. A young man with dark hair appeared surprised while greeting another person, noting how young the general looked. A sudden revelation struck hard, leaving a young man with dark hair both surprised and alarmed by the news of Dong's boyfriend. A tense atmosphere filled the space as a character with hair questioned Sheng's identity. A female character called out urgently, her expression filled with concern as she searched for Yao. A tense confrontation unfolded as a young man with dark hair interrogated another person about her relationship status. She responded defensively, questioning what it had to do with him. A young man with dark hair smirked, mocking an unseen opponent and dismissing the situation's relevance. A tense confrontation intensified as a young man with dark hair confronted Yao about his feelings after years of pursuit. Sheng expressed his frustration, demanding answers. Yao dismissed him angrily, claiming it was irrelevant. Tension crackled in the air as Sheng confronted the other male character, fury radiating from him. He accused the other of living in a fantasy, claiming no one owed him anything. The intimidated male character listened, surprise evident on his face. A concerned female character observed, her worry growing with each harsh word. A confident and confrontational young man prepared to attack, challenging his opponent with a mocking taunt that echoed through the tense atmosphere. A tense atmosphere hung heavily as Sheng demanded silence from the others, was ordered to bring General in quickly. Sheng stood quietly, a contemplative expression crossing his face as others urged him to leave. Sheng boasted about his martial lineage, declaring himself a disciple of a martial saint and naming his master's prestigious connections. Frustration boiled over as Sheng reached out, calling after Yao, who was already running away. Tension thickened in the air as Sheng warned about the chaos that could erupt if impulsive actions were taken today. A young man with dark hair expressed regret to Sheng, claiming he hadn't anticipated the situation's consequences. A dark background loomed over Sheng as he contemplated the weight of his past decisions. He realized the extravagant measures were meant to ward off fools. Confusion filled the space as Sheng faced two characters, seeking clarity about their intentions. An assertive figure pointed decisively at Sheng, accusing him of something unseen. A surge of anger filled the air as a young man with dark hair pointed at a group of characters, claiming someone had stolen his woman. A determined young man with dark hair confronted the group, expressing a fierce desire to uncover the bully among them. A tense atmosphere settled as Sheng stood confidently between two surprised figures. Sheng observed their shocked expressions, leaving them momentarily speechless. A tense moment unfolded as two characters stood frozen, their eyes wide with shock and fear about an unknown figure nearby. Terrified figures knelt on the ground, overwhelmed by the presence of a deity that instilled dread in their hearts. Sheng appeared shocked, questioning what the senior was doing in this unexpected situation. An intimidating figure loomed over a young man with dark hair who knelt on the ground, his fear palpable in the air. A defiant young man with dark hair stood over a defeated opponent, ready to reveal his true intentions. A surge of energy erupted as Sheng raised his hand, channeling his determination into a powerful blast. A sudden explosion lit up the scene, stunning a young man with dark hair into shocked silence. He reacted, unable to comprehend what had just happened. A tense atmosphere filled the air as Sheng raised his fist, explaining his revelation about the manifestation of vital qi. A surprised character looked on in shock. A tense atmosphere thickened as Sheng observed a rapidly expanding figure in the distance, his alarm echoing in the silence. A glowing entity hovered near the planet, casting an otherworldly light across the vastness of space. Sheng observed the phenomenon, his curiosity piqued by the mysterious sight. A startling revelation rippled through the group, leaving Sheng and the others in disbelief. A radiant glow illuminated the darkened room, capturing Sheng's attention as he gazed out the window in astonishment. A tense atmosphere enveloped the room as Sheng gasped at the arrival of a superior. He marveled at the overwhelming presence now before them. Another person covered her mouth, astonished by the revelation. A stunned young man with dark hair confronted Sheng, expressing disbelief about his identity as the god of military. A mysterious event unfolded, leaving a young man with dark hair in shock as he turned away, grappling with the impossibility of the situation. A tender moment unfolded as Sheng reached out, his fingers brushing against another person's hand, filled with unspoken connection. Sheng expressed his long-held feelings, worried about the right moment to share and fearful of how the listener might react. A shocked young man with dark hair questioned the revelation about his boyfriend being the god of military. A mysterious figure observed Sheng as he walked past, the air heavy with unspoken tension. A confident and respected man faced a group of formally dressed men who stood at attention, saluting him with unwavering respect. A young man with dark hair expressed disbelief about Sheng's reputation as the god of military. A calm outdoor setting enveloped Sheng as he suggested entering to discuss matters with the agreeable man beside him. A young man with dark hair and another man looked on in astonishment as they observed the bustling crowd. Sheng's success sparked envy in the first man's voice. A group of men expressed their shock about a young martial artist's impressive title and connections to a wealthy family. A determined woman pushed through the crowd, intent on reaching Lady Qin despite the obstacles in her path. She believed she could catch the military god's eye. A chaotic crowd surged forward, voices raised in fierce competition for the attention of the military god. Sheng asserted his dominance over his competitors. Another forceful crowd member demanded space, claiming the military god for herself. A boisterous young man with long hair declared himself the god of military to the gathered crowd. A female character looked on disapprovingly at his antics. Tension crackled in the air as one character with braided hair expressed frustration over the uncertainty of another's preferences at the peak of their abilities. A chaotic crowd surrounded a young man with dark hair, voices taunting Sheng about his past as a general. A confident young man with dark hair laughed heartily, reveling in the attention of the audience. A confident young man with dark hair assured his big brother that he would take care of him in the future, easing his worries. Yao, wearing a yellow shirt, apologized to Sheng, who appeared shocked and unsure of how to respond. A provocative figure mocked Sheng, gesturing aggressively while expressing admiration for his audacity in challenging the god of military's honor. A wave of shock washed over a young man with dark hair, his eyes wide with disbelief. Sheng exclaimed in horror, unable to comprehend the situation. Sheng knelt on the ground, surrounded by a crowd of ominous figures, feeling utterly defeated. A luxurious yacht glided effortlessly over the ocean waves, creating a serene atmosphere 3 days later. Sheng observed the vast ocean, intrigued by its endless depths. Sheng lounged beside a girl, contemplating a serious question about marriage approval from a powerful future father-in-law. Sheng smirked, confidently declaring that the answer was to become a martial saint. A mysterious figure handed Sheng a colorful drink, laughter dancing in the air as they shared a light moment together. The young man with dark hair stood on the deck, gazing at the ocean, lost in hopeful thoughts about gathering his family together again. Sheng suggested sending people to bring someone, but he felt pressed for time and decided to postpone it for another occasion. The young man with dark hair focused intently, his glowing purple eyes locking onto a distant target. An ominous slash of energy cut through the air toward the ocean, a sign of the fierce power about to be unleashed. Sheng unleashed a powerful attack, aiming straight for the ocean's depths. The young man with dark hair walked confidently, stating he would return to the same spot every week. The young man with dark hair watched as the female character leaned in, their moment charged with unspoken promises. A sudden surge of determination fueled him as he leaped from the boat, plunging into the deep blue. The young man with dark hair pondered the impending disaster, feeling the weight of the world-end threat heavy on his heart. The young man with dark hair felt an unwavering resolve as he faced the looming challenges ahead. He declared confidence in fighting back no matter what happened. Sheng focused intently, meditating in a serene, watery environment surrounded by bubbles, ready to confront any threats ahead. Glowing crystals floated around Sheng as he reached out, curiosity igniting within him amidst the tranquil underwater scene. Surrounded by floating pink crystals, a focused and serene young man with dark hair meditated deeply in a mystical underwater realm. A determined young man with dark hair stood confidently in the glowing depths of the azure planet's seabed, ready to push his limits. He revealed to himself the immense pressure he faced, refining his martial physique and psychic power. A surge of dark energy enveloped Sheng as he steeled himself for the guide's arrival. He declared that all that was left was to wait for the guide. A determined young man with dark hair focused intently, preparing to harness the power of a level 10 guide. He intended to borrow their pressure. A determined young man with dark hair stood resolute, ready to break through into the true level 9 martial saint realm amidst swirling energy. A determined young man with dark hair replenished energy crystals while maintaining contact with his family and military headquarters, training intensely to improve exponentially. Sheng meditated underwater, surrounded by vibrant marine life, feeling the strength of the fixed star within him grow day by day. Sheng contemplated the essence of his martial arts, pondering what his true martial arts dharma would ultimately look like. A vast desert stretched endlessly, where numerous martial saints gathered, their anticipation palpable as they awaited an unknown arrival. Tension filled the air as a muscular man gestured aggressively toward the group, his anger unmistakable. A wave of despair washed over the crowd as they knelt, defeated and hopeless. Sheng sank to his knees, overwhelmed by the weight of his failure. Silence enveloped the scene, heavy with unspoken grief and loss. A powerful strike erupted from Sheng, cutting through the tension like a blade through silk. A shadowy figure stood imposingly against a bright light, while worshippers bowed down in reverence. A cloaked figure stood confidently, exuding an intense aura that demanded attention from the defeated crowd. A determined young man with dark hair stepped onto a glowing surface, curiosity sparking in his eyes. A dark figure in a hooded robe addressed the crowd, his voice echoing with confidence and authority. A dark figure in a hood kneels, awe washing over him as another man in a suit observes a glowing arc of energy. A dark figure stood menacingly, revealing the items had traded for in the past. Sheng expressed his gratitude towards the venerable guide, feeling a mix of respect and nervousness in the formal setting. A menacing hooded figure demanded energy crystals, irritation etched on his face as he grew tired of making requests. A stern-looking man addressed his subordinates, nervously discussing the importance of energy crystals. A tense atmosphere hung in the air as a worried man expressed concern about the availability of energy crystals for an unspecified recipient. A worried man with dark hair sensed something alarming nearby, his expression tightening with fear. A fierce energy surged from a determined and powerful figure, illuminating the tense atmosphere. Sheng unleashed a powerful energy blast, shocking everyone present. Sheng expressed his shock, questioning the absence of energy crystals in the midst of the tense atmosphere surrounding him. A powerful figure emerged from a swirling mass of dark energy, surrounded by explosive light. Sheng watched the emergence with intense unease. An older man reported to the venerable guide that the energy crystal production had exceeded threefold, totaling over 500 kilograms. Tension seeped into the air as Sheng's face tightened, revealing his doubt about the unfolding situation. A cloaked figure questioned another about a missing stash of energy crystals, their voice laced with curiosity and urgency. The guide explained that all the crystals had been stolen, gesturing toward a holographic display. Chaos surrounded a confident young man with dark hair, radiating bright energy as he stood amidst battle. He challenged the unseen guide, declaring his unmatched status among humanity. A hand adorned with sharp, decorative nails gestured approvingly, as particles floated around, creating an atmosphere of confidence. The cloaked figure admired the talent of a martial artist from a humble resource planet, expressing surprise at such skill. A determined and commanding young man with dark hair demanded to be brought to the person he was searching for. A sinister and intriguing figure smiled widely, revealing sharp teeth as they expressed excitement about the upcoming trip. A serene landscape enveloped Sheng as he sat thoughtfully under a tree, lost in contemplation. An older man gazed intently, sensing a powerful aura descending nearby and realizing its significance. An unknown speaker posed a weighty question to Sheng about his fate against someone from the heavens. The tranquil courtyard of a martial arts academy welcomed visitors with its calm atmosphere. Sheng entered the academy, determination radiating from him. Sheng relaxed his feet on the floor, embracing a moment of tranquility amidst the swirling uncertainties ahead. Sheng reclined casually on the couch, engaging in a light-hearted conversation about her romantic interests. A girl with a green bow looked distressed, her grip tightening around her foot as panic set in. Sheng expressed his frustration about massaging his mother's foot, noting the surprising strength required for the task. A character with dark hair held a drink, surprised by the inquiry about romantic interests at the academy. A moment of confusion settled as a young man with dark hair questioned how he could date his childhood friends, feeling like family to him. A reflective atmosphere filled the room as two characters shared their experiences, revealing vulnerabilities and the weight of their pasts. Character A asked about life outside the academy. Character B admitted to barely knowing anyone from her childhood. A curious character with purple hair posed a question about recent outings and who the young man admired the most. A thoughtful girl placed her finger on her chin, analyzing her recent favorites with a curious expression. A moment of admiration filled the air as one character gazed at Sheng, holding sister protectively. She expressed her desire to find a boyfriend just like him. Flames roared behind him as the unparalleled martial artist stood victorious, a symbol of strength amidst chaos. Sheng had defeated all martial saints, earning his place among humanity. A confident young man smirked at the delighted girl, pleased with her admiration. A close-up of a surprised character's face revealed shock at an unexpected event. She reacted with disbelief, her alert expression conveying the gravity of the moment. A portal shimmered to life, its glow illuminating the room with vibrant energy. Sheng announced he was going out, leaving uncertainty behind. The girl called out for her mother, alarmed by the sudden change. A mischievous and confident young man smirked as he declared the arrival of the venerable guide, his voice dripping with anticipation. A cloaked character with pink hair prepared to move forward, reflecting on whether Sheng had absorbed her earlier words. A dark cave loomed ahead, its fragmented rocks barely illuminated by a flickering light, casting an ominous atmosphere. Moments later, a courageous and determined figure stepped cautiously into the shadows. A fierce determination filled the air as Sheng struck the massive horned figure with his glowing weapon, ready for battle. A tense standoff unfolded as Sheng clung fiercely to the large beast, surrounded by a group of apprehensive men watching intently. A concerned observer expressed shock at Sheng's reckless actions, suggesting he seemed to hold a grudge against monsters from a past life. The atmosphere buzzed with intensity as Sheng trained with unwavering focus, each punch embodying his determination to push beyond his limits. He reflected on how the military god's training technique opened new realizations during practice. A mystical aura enveloped the scene as a young man with dark hair reacted with surprise to the descent of the venerable guide. A wave of frustration washed over the young man with dark hair as he clutched his head, overwhelmed by chaotic memories resurfacing. He couldn't comprehend what the guide was, feeling a desperate need for clarity. A fierce determination ignited in the air as Sheng jumped towards the enemy, ready to unleash his fury. Sheng struck the ground with explosive force, vowing that killing 10 million monsters would lead him back to his original world for revenge. A figure in a hat stood confidently, while an eager listener crouched nearby. The eager listener heard that the TM's descent had reached Earth. Urgency filled the air as determined figures surged towards the Dragon Country, each driven by their own motives. Sheng rushed forward, joining the frantic movement alongside others. A luxurious yacht glided over calm waters under a clear sky, embodying a moment of tranquility amidst the unfolding chaos. A sense of unease settled in the air as the young man with dark hair questioned his feelings. A cloaked figure approached, his presence casting an ominous shadow over the young woman. He questioned her about Sheng's whereabouts. A tense atmosphere surrounded Sheng as he confronted the crowd from an elevated position, determination etched on his face. The air thickened with dread as Sheng observed the imposing figures before him. He realized that the man was the feared martial saint, Tan. A tense confrontation unfolded as a determined young man with dark hair stared down a mysterious hooded figure. A tense silence filled the air as powerful figures gathered, their eyes fixed on one goal, finding Sheng. They reflected on the presence of those whom martial saints must respect. A cloaked figure stood confidently, speculating about its fate while an elderly man listened, worry etched on his face. A sinister group huddled together, plotting their next move regarding Sheng's wife-to-be. The calculating figure revealed a plan to interrogate her for information. A frightened girl ran desperately, glancing back as dark shadows closed in behind her. A frightened character with pink hair struggled, exclaiming her inability to move as panic enveloped her. A smug young man in military attire observed a frightened girl attempting to escape, mocking her naivety about her chances of survival. A fierce-looking man shouted angrily at Sheng, his voice echoing with intensity. A fierce-looking man confronted someone off-panel, his determined expression radiating defiance. He threatened that things had been too easy before. If you'd like to see your favorite titles retold, leave a comment, and I'll be sure to pick some of them up from time to time. Also, let me know which video format you like more, long videos or short ones. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.